Hello, welcome to the Learn English Lab.
Great to be here.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into some C1 level vocabulary. Specifically, we're tackling words that start with the letter V.
Yes, some really useful ones in there.
Exactly. The idea is to, sharpen your understanding of some more nuanced English. We want to help you express yourself with a bit more precision, more confidence.
Sounds good. So we'll be breaking them down. Meanings, uses.
That's the plan. We'll look at meanings, how they're used, give plenty of examples. So, all right, let's kick things off with vacuum.
Okay, vacuum. It's interesting because it works on a couple of levels. The main one, as a noun, is that scientific idea, a space with absolutely no matter or air.
Right, like in physics experiments.
Exactly, where you need to isolate things, but then we also use it metaphorically, don't we? Like a vacuum of leadership.
Oh yeah, I've heard that. When someone important leaves suddenly.
Right, and there's this gap, this lack of direction maybe, a void.
And it's not just these big ideas either, it's practical too.
How so?
Well, just, I need to vacuum the living room using a vacuum cleaner.
The verb form, good point. So it really does span from like high-level science to everyday chores. Quite versatile.
Definitely. Okay, moving on. How about vague?
Vague. This one's all about lack of clarity, isn't it? Imprecise, not enough detail.
Yeah, when things are a bit fuzzy.
Right, and it can be used when there's ambiguity, maybe even intentionally sometimes. Think about vague political promises.
Yes. Promises that sound good but don't actually commit to anything specific.
Exactly. Which kind of raises a question, when is being vague useful and when is it just unhelpful?
That's interesting because sometimes ambiguity is good, right? Like you said in the notes, vague outlines in a painting can create a certain mood.
A dreamy quality, perhaps.
Evocative.
But then again, getting vague instructions at work, that's usually just confusing.
Oh, absolutely. Leads to mistakes, wasted effort. So the context really matters for vague.
Spot on. Okay, next up, validity. Validity. This takes us into whether something is, sound. Logically or factually sound, or legally acceptable.
So it's about legitimacy, trustworthiness.
I think so, yeah. It touches on trust and reliability. In academia, you might question the validity of a study. Maybe the sample size was too small or the method was flawed.
Right, or in law, the validity of a contract doesn't meet all the legal requirements. Was it signed properly?
Precisely. It's about whether something holds up under scrutiny. Like your passport, it has an expiry date after which its validity runs out.
Can't argue with that. And scientists need strict protocols to ensure the validity of their experiments.
Absolutely. It's fundamental to making sure results are dependable, genuine.
Okay, got it. Let's jump to Vanish.
Vanish. This one feels quite sudden. Disappearing completely, often without explanation.
Yeah, like poof, gone.
Exactly. And it can have this emotional side too. A magician making a rabbit vanish is one thing, it's entertainment. But think about dreams vanishing because funding fell through. That feels quite different, much more disappointing.
That's true. Is that sense of complete disappearance. Could be physical, like mountains vanishing in fog.
Or something less tangible, like an ancient civilization seeming to vanish, leaving historians puzzled.
Right. Okay, next pair. Variable and varied. Let's start with variable.
Okay, variable. This is key for anything involving change or potential change. As a noun, it's a factor that can change.
Like in science again.
Yeah, classic example. Studying how variables like temperature and pressure affect an experiment's outcome. Understanding variables lets you understand, maybe even control, systems.
And it's not just science labs. You might talk about someone having variable moods.
Unpredictable emotional states. Or a place having a variable climate, which is tough for farmers.
And in tech, right, a variable in programming stores data that can change.
Foundational stuff in coding, absolutely.
So that's variable. How does varied differ? It sounds similar.
It does sound similar, but the focus is different. Varied emphasizes diversity within a group, not changeability over time. It means showing a range of different types.
Okay. So not about changing, but about being different from each other.
Exactly. Like a museum having a varied collection, ancient stuff, modern art, everything in between.
Or someone's varied career path, maybe they were a teacher, then a chef, then an engineer.
Right. Or a restaurant with a varied menu, catering to lots of different tastes and diets. It's about the assortment, the mix.
Gotcha. Assortment, not fluctuation. Okay, next word.
Vein.
Vein. Another one with multiple meanings. Literal ones first. The blood vessel carrying blood to the heart.
biology.
And geology, a vein of ore, like gold or silver, in rock.
Right. Miners look for those.
But the figurative use is really interesting, talking in a lighter vein to make things less serious.
Or like a book having a specific vein.
Yes, a dark vein of humor, for example. It suggests a particular style or mood running through something. So it adds this layer of meaning depending on the context. Interesting. Let's tackle venture.
Venture. This one screams risk, daring. As a noun, often in business, right? A risky venture, like launching a new company.
Yeah, high stakes.
There's often that mix of excitement and, well, uncertainty. Will it work? Will it fail?
And as a verb, to venture.
It can mean daring to do something dangerous, venturing into the unknown forest.
Okay.
Or, more cautiously, daring to say something venturing an opinion when you're maybe not totally sure how it'll be received.
So there's always that element of stepping out, taking a chance, whether physically or with words.
That's a good way to put it. Stepping into the unknown.
All right, what about verbal?
Verbal. Pretty straightforward, this one. Relating to words, especially spoken words, as opposed to written ones or, body language.
So distinguishing spoken communication.
Right. And effective vocal communication is just crucial, isn't it? In work, in life.
Definitely. We talk about a verbal agreement, one made just by speaking.
Which, as the notes mention, can sometimes cause problems later if there's no written record.
True. And having good verbal skills makes a great impression in interviews.
Absolutely. It's about clarity and impact when you speak.
Okay. Following verbal, we have verdict.
Verdict. This carries a sense of final judgment, a decision, most strongly associated with courts, of course.
Yeah, the jury delivers the verdict, guilty or not guilty.
That's the classic image.
Yeah.
But it's broader, too. It can be any conclusion reached after thinking something over.
Yeah.
Like critics giving their verdict on a new movie.
Or even just your personal verdict on a meal needs more salt.
Yes. It's that final opinion after consideration, the conclusion.
Right, that finality. Okay, let's look at verify.
Verify. This is all about confirmation, checking if something is true, accurate.
Making sure it's correct.
Yes. And goodness, in today's world, being able to verify information, it's more important than ever, right? Checking sources.
Absolutely critical. So banks need to verify your identity.
With ID. Researchers need to verify their data meticulously.
Even just like calling a shop to verify they have something in stock before you go saves a trip.
Simple, practical verification. It's all about confirming facts.
Okay. Next is verse.
Verse takes us into poetry, songs, even religious texts. Primarily, a verse is a line of poetry, or maybe a whole stanza.
Like learning the first verse of a poem.
Right. Or in songs, you have the verses that tell the story, usually changing each time, compared to the chorus, which repeats.
Yeah, verse-chorus structure.
Exactly. And then in the Bible or Quran, you have numbered verses. It's about those structured units of language.
Makes sense. Different contexts, same basic idea of the section. Okay, what about verses? Often see it as vias.
Yeah, verses or vias. Super useful for showing opposition or comparison, pitting two things against each other.
Like in sports, Brazil versus Argentina.
Classic example. Or a debate. Renewable energy versus fossil fuels.
Or legal cases, Smith versus Jones.
Spot on. Or even just personally, weighing up options, studying abroad versus staying home. It just clearly frames that contrast or competition.
Very efficient word. Okay, next up, vessel.
Vessel. This one's got quite a range. Could be a ship or a large boat.
Yeah.
A cargo vessel.
Okay, nautical.
Or it could just be a container, pouring soup into a ceramic vessel, like a bowl or jug.
Well, holding things.
And then there's the biological, meaning a blood vessel, like an artery or a vein.
So ships, containers, and body parts.
It's quite diverse. You might even hear an old pot or vase called a vessel, especially if it's beautifully made.
Didn't think of that last one. Okay, let's talk about veteran.
Veteran. This usually implies experience, especially long experience. Most commonly, you hear it for someone who served in the military, a veteran soldier.
Respect for their service.
Absolutely. But it's broader, too. You could have a veteran journalist who's covered news for decades. Anyone with deep experience in a field.
So it's about that earned expertise through time and practice. You might talk about veteran leadership being valuable in a crisis.
Exactly. And recognizing the need to support veterans transitioning back to civilian life is important too.
Definitely. Okay, how about viable?
Viable. This asks, can it work? Is it feasible? Can it be successful? Often used for plans, ideas, businesses.
So practical potential.
That's it. Investors look at a startup's business plan to see if it's viable. Will it make money? Can it survive?
And in science,
Biologists might study if a species population is still viable in the wild, like can it sustain itself?
right, so an idea might be creative, but if it costs too much, it's not viable long term.
Precisely. Or looking at alternatives like solar power being a viable energy source in sunny places. It's about workability.
Workability, good summary.
Yeah.
Okay, nearly there. Vibrant.
Vibrant. I like this word. It suggests energy, life, brightness, intensity.
Yeah, it feels positive.
Definitely. Think vibrant colors at a festival. Bright, striking, or someone with a vibrant personality. Lively, engaging.
Makes you think of energy, like a city's vibrant nightlife.
Exactly. Full of activity.
Yeah.
Or an artist using vibrant blues and greens to paint a tropical scene. It just pops.
Pops, yeah, a good word for it. Okay, slightly different tone now. Vice.
Vice. Mostly negative. It refers to a moral failing, a bad habit, often one with ethical implications. Like smoking is a costly vice.
So beyond just a minor bad habit, often something more serious.
Often, yes. Novels might explore the vice of greed or envy, things considered morally wrong. Procrastination, maybe it could become a vice if it really harms your life.
Okay, and there's another meaning too, isn't there? The tool.
Oh, right. Less common in general conversation, but yes, a vice is a tool with jaws to grip something tightly, maybe for woodworking.
Got it. Primarily the moral failing, though. Now, related perhaps, vicious.
Vicious, this is strong. It means cruel, violent, deliberately harmful. A vicious attack implies real aggression and intent to harm.
Sounds nasty.
It is. A politician might face vicious criticism, really harsh and personal attacks. Or even a dog's vicious barking could be genuinely scary.
And the idea of a vicious cycle.
Ah, yes. Like poverty leading to crime, which reinforces poverty. One bad thing feeding into another, making it hard to break free. Very negative loop.
Okay, let's look at violate.
Violate. This means to break a rule, a law, an agreement, maybe even a principle, disregarding something formal.
So a transgression.
Yes, often a deliberate one. You get fined for violating a noise ordinance. A company might get sued for violating labor laws.
So it implies consequences.
Usually, sharing a secret could violate someone's trust. An invasion could violate international agreements. It's about breaking established boundaries.
Right. And the noun form is violation.
Spot on. Violation is the act itself, or the instance of breaking the rule. A violation of the ceasefire leads to more fighting.
Even small things like a dress code violation might get you a warning.
True. And big things like a data breach being a serious violation of privacy, or environmental violations leading to huge fines. It's the result of violating something.
Okay. Contrasting with vice, we have virtue.
Yes, virtue. The positive side. A morally good quality, moral excellence. Things like honesty, courage, compassion. These are seen as virtues.
Patience is a virtue, they say.
That's a classic one. A leader known for the virtue of humility might gain respect. Philosophers spend a lot of time discussing different virtues.
Right. Stories often teach lessons about virtue, like selflessness being important. It's about those positive character traits we admire.
Exactly. What we strive for, ideally.
Okay, vocal. We touched on verbal earlier. How's vocal different?
Vocal can be an adjective or a noun. As an adjective, it can mean relating to the voice, like your vocal cords.
Makes sense.
Or it can mean being outspoken.
Right.
Someone is vocal about supporting a cause. They speak up loudly and clearly.
Ah, so similar to being outspoken.
Yes. And then as a noun, vocals refers to the singing part in music. A singer gives a great vocal performance.
So voice production, speaking out, and singing. Got it. How about vow?
Vow. A very solemn promise, a pledge. Think of wedding vows.
Deep commitment.
Definitely. Or someone might take a vow of silence. As a verb, to vow means making that serious promise, vowing to never give up.
So it carries real weight, a knight vowing allegiance.
Precisely. A strong declaration.
Okay, last pair. Vulnerability and vulnerable.
Right. Vulnerability is the noun, the state of being open to harm, attack, maybe emotional hurt. Susceptibility.
Like a weak point.
Could be. A castle's vulnerability might be a weak gate. A report might highlight a city's vulnerability to climate change. It could be physical, systemic.
Or emotional.
Yes, absolutely. Though sometimes showing emotional vulnerability is now seen as a strength. Interestingly, being open.
And vulnerable is the adjective.
That's right. Describing that state of being susceptible or at risk, children can be vulnerable to illness.
Or feeling vulnerable after sharing something personal.
A very common feeling. Endangered animals are vulnerable to habitat loss. An old computer system is vulnerable to cyber attacks. It just means exposed, open to harm.
Well, that covers quite a range of view words.
It certainly does, from the scientific to the emotional, the legal to the everyday.
We've really unpacked a lot there. And, each of these C1 words really does carry its own specific weight and meaning. Using them right can add so much depth to your English.
Absolutely. Precision is key at this level.
So for everyone listening, think about how you could start weaving these words into your own conversations, your writing. Pay attention to those nuances we talked about, the context where they fit best.
Maybe pick one or two that were new or challenging. Revisit the examples. Try making your own sentences.
Good idea. Remember, growing your vocabulary it's an ongoing thing. It doesn't happen overnight. But focusing on sets like these V words can be a really effective way to push your skills forward.
Definitely helps to focus sometimes.
So if you found this deep dive helpful, if it gave you some value, we'd really appreciate it if you'd like this video, share it with anyone else who might be learning, and of course, subscribe to the Learn English Lab channel here on YouTube.
Yep, helps us keep making more content like this.
It does indeed. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for listening.